Hello, all. Good evening. Welcome to today's session. I'm Dr. Soumya, Associate Professor, Consultant, and Wellness Coach. The Swastham webinar series, to introduce this to you for people who are new here, is about creating awareness about health, mainly the Ayurveda way. Until now, we have conducted 3 webinars on different topics, and the previous sessions, who have missed it, it's available on the Ayurdynamic app. The recording is available there, so you could check on the Ayurdynamic app for the recorded sessions as well. And in this particular webinar, as you already know, we are going to speak about what are the uses of sleep. All right, so what are the benefits, or what are the uses, or what are the important effects it has on our body and mind and our physiological functioning as well, and what are the factors which are affecting this normal physiological function. Now you might ask, why is it important to know what factors affect sleep and what are the benefits of sleep? Because I would say that knowing these would be important to get to a solution. All right, so to find out solution to any problem, we need to understand the exact problem as such. So this is an attempt to understand the problem as to where we might be tripping in understanding our own sleep, as to why our sleep is getting disturbed, or what could be the possible reasons which gives us disturbed sleep or insomnias. So to know anything at first, I would like to tell you that we have to understand what is sleep. All right. So there are various definitions of sleep according to different disciplines of science. In generally, it can be taken as a natural state of rest. Sleep could be a natural state of rest in which our eyes is closed, the body is inactive, and mind cannot think too much. So this is from the dictionaries, but if you go to any medicine disciplines, like according to the psychiatry, according to nursing, according to medical science, you find different definitions, complicated definitions of sleep. But it could be very complex to understand them. So to keep it very simple, we can understand the definition of sleep according to the dictionaries, which could be in layman's terms. Okay, so moving forward, it'll be very interesting to know why sleep is important to our body and what it does to our body. All right, why sleep is important. So moving forward, let us see the benefits of sleep one after the other. All right, so the first benefit I would say is it's important to know the role of sleep on our immune system. All right, we might have heard the proverb that sleep heals, right? This definitely makes sense. Sleep heals us. How it heals? The answer is in the role of sleep in immune functions. Okay, there have been extensive researches which have been done, which is a complex mechanism to explain, of course, as to what changes can happen in our immune system during the sleep, and even further in specific in different stages of sleep. All right, there are different varieties of sleep patterns what we have, different stages of sleep. In common terms, I can definitely tell you that it is the stage of deep sleep, the stage of a slight awakening, this stage of very shallow sleep. You have different stages like this which are named in different terms, like the rapid eye movement stage, or the non-rapid eye movement stage, and all these, but that gets very complex. So let us say that in specific, the sleep has its effect on the body with relation to the immune system in every stage of these sleeps. But one key point, what we can know is the prolonged sleep insufficiency, or the sleep, disturbance in a prolonged way, in the chronic way, can give it results into the stress response what is created, and can encourage a persistent or the unspecific production of some pro-inflammatory immune cells called as the cytokines. So to understand this complex mechanism, let us know what are cytokines. Cytokines are a part of the immune system which helps in the inflammations, okay, which helps fight the germs or the microbes in our body and any sort of inflammations in the body. So these pro-inflammatory cytokines are produced in excess when the sleep is insufficient for a longer duration. So what happens as a result is that it can help in bringing about the inflammations which are not there in the body right now. It encourages the autoimmune diseases, it encourages the immunodeficiency states too sometimes. So sleep and immune system are very closely related to each other, and as a result of chronic sleep insufficiency, there could be a very long term low grade inflammatory state in a body, which otherwise wouldn't happen if the sleep was normal, which was sleep was good enough. In fact, you might have heard about the autoimmune diseases like the rheumatoid arthritis, where the autoimmune diseases affects the cells of our own body. And there could be many examples of it. The common example which I gave you was rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes mellitus type 1 is one, and there are many others. So sleep deprivation could also increase the risk of these autoimmune diseases. Hence, getting a good sleep would definitely see that our immune functioning is working very well. The next important factor, or the next important role, is the relation between the sleep and metabolism. Sleep is related to many hormonal and metabolic processes in the body. All right, and it's very important in maintaining metabolic homeostasis as such, because sleep deprivation has the researchers with sleep deprivation has shown that it could encourage, or it could pose as a risk factor in changing your sugar levels, especially in people who are already suffering from diabetes mellitus. It could pose the risk of increased blood sugar levels or uncontrolled blood sugar levels, or it could also pose a risk of developing early diabetes as such. And not only the hormonal homeostasis, but other things like the weight issues, when it comes to hormonal changes, weight issues like obesity and such things could be as a resultant of sleep deprivation. And coming to metabolism, of course, there are many instances where there are appetite irregularities when there is lack of sleep. The next important factor is the sleep and its role in the learning and memory, the process of learning and memory. So if there is a lack of sleep, what happens is the researchers suggest that there is a significant 40% drop in the ability to learn new things. All right, so it can also affect both short term and long term memories as well. So the cognizance, as we say, the most important feature of our IQ is the cognizance, the learning abilities, the grasping abilities, and the retaining abilities. So both of these are lost when, or decreased, I would say, when the sleep is going haphazard. So for our intelligence to work normally, good sleep, good night sleep, it would be very beneficial, and it definitely boosts our thinking processes. The logical thinking processes could definitely get a boost with a good night sleep, I would say. So the next important role of sleep is on our mental health. And this is a very important thing, because in these days we see a lot of growing anxieties, depressions, and all sorts of panic disorders and all sorts of mental health issues growing these days. Definitely the statistics suggest a significant increase in the number of cases in all these mental disorders. What could be the reason? Probable reason for this is, one thing is the lack of sleep. Poor or insufficient sleep has been found to increase negative emotional responses, which we call as stressors in our body. So it increases the negative emotional responses, and on the other hand, decreases the positive emotions. All right, so this is the reason why people who lack sleep can tend to be more day sleep has many contraindications and many indications as well that we'll take up in the future talks. But this night sleep has all these benefits which could help us in many ways in maintaining health, which we even could not imagine many a times. All right. Most importantly, the other day there was a research which I've been reading which suggested that in evolution, how did the species, all the species, develop this habit of sleep? you know so this was to basically conserve energy, one thing, and to not fall prey for the predators at the night times, when there was no in the initial days of evolution of human beings, sleep was very essential so that the species is confined to one place, and to conserve their energy and not roam around and fall prey to any dangers. So this was one of the theories which I was reading about, and how sleep developed in any of the species. And specifically during the night hours, that is important to note. And the next important benefit of sleep is on our skin health. And many people wouldn't know this, because that sleep also has an anti-aging effect. Dermatologists opine that skin makes new collagen when you sleep. Collagen is something which is very essential for our skin health. We might have heard of this word multiple times. And good sleep thereby prevents fine lines and sagging and wrinkles and all these. So in total, it keeps the skin more plumpier. The collagen specifically, it makes skin look more plumpier, and it lessens the wrinkles. So it definitely has a good effect on the skin health, and definitely anti-aging effect with regard to the skin. So these are some of the reasons why sleep is absolutely necessary, and they are vital things to our body. They're not some very meager small things which could be neglected. They are very important things, because immunity, mental health, hormonal balances, and good metabolisms, all these, and good mental functioning, IQ functioning, all these are some of the very important benefits what sleep gives us. In fact, they are very essential to have a very good deep night's sleep. All right. So this is about why sleep is absolutely necessary, and there are many more to it. There are many more reasons why sleep could be essential, but these are only few what we have been listing so far. And now, next, let us have a look at the Ayurveda perspective of the importance of sleep. Different authors in Ayurveda give similar but a wide account of benefits associated with sleep. Literally every aspect of life, like the happiness, misery, nourishment or emaciation, strength or weakness, knowledge or ignorance, and ultimately life or death, all depends on sleep. And this is true if we go on analyzing each of the points, like the happiness or the misery, which has the effect on mental health, the nourishment and the emaciation, like obesity or the weight loss, everything is depending on sleep. The strength and weakness, of course, is depending on sleep. And knowledge and ignorance is related to the IQ thing what we just spoke. It helps us in greatly in enhancing our cognizance. So knowledge and ignorance also depends on the sleep, and ultimately the life and death. And there are researchers, why life and death is that there are researchers which suggests that if a person is deprived of sleep for a considerable number of days, there is every chance that the person can die. So the same sleep, if properly enjoyed, brings about happiness, it brings about longevity in human beings. As there is a simile also which is given, that as a real knowledge brings about siddhi in the yogi, the same way a person can come to his absolute potential when there is a good night's sleep. All right. So and next, just like it was mentioned earlier that the lack of sleep has been linked to obesity, Ayurveda also says that corpulence is a state of good nourishment, okay, or emaciation are directly related to two things. They are sleep and diet. Okay, so sleep and diet, according to Ayurveda sages, are directly influencing the state of corpulence or emaciation of the body. All right. So finally, Ayurveda acharyas have also told sleep as one among the three pillars of life. There are three strong pillars of life, which is mentioned by the Ayurveda textbooks, and which is under the heading of the Trayopastambhas, and which includes food, sleep, and celibacy. So food, sleep, and celibacy are the three important pillars for life. So this is what the importance of sleep, and there are many more accounts. I have just taken a few here. um, so these are some of the wide range of benefits according to the contemporary science and the Ayurveda science, with regard to sleep. So, having spoken about the benefits of sleep, and parallelly the consequences of the lack of sleep, I would say, next we'll see about what are the factors that can affect sleep. Okay, so it so happens that in daytime, the day light helps in suppressing the production of an hormone which is called as melatonin in our body. Okay, so this melatonin hormone is secreted more during the daytime when there is daylight. Okay, and this melatonin, what it does, it it's suppressed during the daytime, and it is helping in the wakefulness state. All right, so whereas in the night, when the light is naturally less, what happens is it produces naturally produces melatonin, and thereby more sleepiness. All right, so we can see that in we can find these melatonin supplements and the melatonin gummies in the market, which could promote our sleep as supplements. They are available in the market as supplements, but the main reason why the melatonin is produced is mostly the light. Okay, so the more brighter the light we are exposed to during the night times, the lesser we tend to feel sleepy. All right, so it tricks our brain to feel that it is still day. All right, so the dimmer the light, the more beneficial it is to fall asleep. Okay, so this rhythm of the hormone is disturbed if we have more exposure to light at night hours, specifically to the artificial lights, okay, which we call as the blue lights in specific. And these blue lights are something. Sorry for the disturbance. Yeah, so the more we are exposed to this blue light, specifically the um, light from the gadgets which is emitted, we definitely tend to be more awake and less sleepy. So the next important point is the shift based works and the jet lags, um, which could confuse our circadian rhythm and could disturb your sleep. All right, so next important factor which could affect our sleep is the underlying medical conditions. All right, now what are these medical conditions which could the medical conditions which could relate to the lack of sleep is the mainly the pain related conditions. We have arthritis, we have pain somewhere which is not allowing you to sleep, or having nocturia or more urination during the night times. You have a bronchial asthma, which is you have dyspnea or cough, and which could affect sleep. So this is called as the secondary insomnia. And this could affect your sleep. As such, your sleep is good enough, but due to these external factors of the diseases, the sleep is getting influenced. So these are some of the factors which could influence our sleep because of the health conditions. And the next important factor is the medications and substances. So the use of certain substances could affect your sleep. The most common example being the caffeine, all right, and the alcohols. Alcohol in a short term could reflect as if it is giving you a good sleep, but definitely alcohol on the long run could definitely affect your sleep. All right, caffeine is one such thing which could keep us awake, and which could give us this energy, and it could hamper our sleep again. So the some of these substances, I just give you example of two substances which could affect our sleep. Coming to the medications part, there are certain medications like the steroids, the antidepressants, and many more which could affect our sleep naturally because of its action. So these negative effects of the medications and substances could be something which has to be avoided as far as possible. All right. So now coming to the Ayurveda concept of sleep, even though there is a lot of concept explained, the most influential factors are the three doshas. They are the vata, pitta, and the kapha. Okay. So depending on the body constitution, which body type we are, uh, it could influence our sleep in a good way or in a bad way. For example, a person who is a vata type in constitution could have very poor sleep quality with disturbed sleep. uh, on the other hand, a person with a pitta body type could have a lesser sleep with more dreams, whereas a person with a kapha body type could have a better deep sleep comparatively when compared to the vata and pitta. So these are some of the influence of the body types on our sleep. The next is the state of disease or the health. Okay, if you're healthy, you sleep better. If you're diseased, you sleep not so good. So these are some of the factors. The next important the most important factors which are told in the Ayurveda texts are these psychological factors, like the fear, anger, anxiety. These are when you're afflicted with these emotions at the time of sleep, it could give you a disturbed sleep, or it could make you face difficulties in falling asleep also. So as a result, this could affect your sleep. And the next important point is, as a result of some treatment complications, like if we give a purgation or if we give a MSS, which we call virechana and vamana in Ayurveda. So if it has become excess, it could disturb our sleep because of the hydration issues or the weakness and things like that. So these are some of the factors told in Ayurveda which could affect sleep. All right. So there are many other things, but um, these are in total that we have been talking about. What are the benefits of sleep? What are the hazards of not sleeping well? And what are the factors according to Ayurveda and contemporary which could affect our sleep? So any questions? Do you have any questions? Okay, there's a question here. Does the light itself impact melatonin production? Is there a certain? Okay, so you might have heard about the circadian rhythm as such. Um, See, melatonin is when it produced in excess, it could make us feel sleepy. That's why some people take supplements to fall asleep. All right. See, circadian rhythm is always based on our internal and external factors, like the light influencing us. Could be the external factor, the tiredness or the excess work and the tired state could influence our sleep. So there are many other factors which both internal and external which influences our sleep. So yes, light does impact the melatonin production, because in daytime we observed that the researchers have observed that the melatonin production is suppressed, and in night it is more when it is naturally dark. So that is one thing. um, so any other questions? We'll be glad to answer your questions in the follow-up session happening tomorrow at the same time. And please post your questions in the Ayurdynamic app. Please download the app today, log into it, to see the previous recorded sessions of the webinars, to start a discussion. There is a discussion forum there. There are certain short articles or the write-ups which are done there for everyday health updation. And also there is sound therapy which is newly introduced into the app. So kindly check into the app and feel free to ask questions about the today's session or anything in general about health. And also you could suggest us to do certain topics which you would like to know. We could take up those topics in the future for the webinars. So any questions, kindly feel free to ask on the Ayurdynamic app, and tomorrow we'll join at the same time, at 7 o'clock. Kindly log in, and you could ask any questions related to sleep or anything related to health. As I told you, any doubts regarding Ayurveda could be addressed there.